We're here today to talk about integrations. So we can go ahead and jump right into it. The integrations with Rescue, they are primarily with CRM systems, okay, ticketing systems, customer relationship tracking. Many organizations these days are using these to track, interactions with the support team to make sure that things are being logged and tracked, and that you have the reporting data that you need, to make business decisions, right? Whether you need to add headcount to the support team, whether you, need to make sure that the support team is being efficient and effective. These CRM integrations can certainly help with that, because what they do at the end of the day is they help provide the detail from the rescue session in the support case itself. So there are some very specific pain points that we cover and that these integrations help with. First of all, I feel like we're all using 17,000 different pieces of software to solve a very common issue, which is providing end user support. And they're all disparate systems. They don't often communicate with each other. And reporting data is in 17 different places. Integrations can also be very complex, right? And costly to develop, to maintain, and to organize. But really, at the end of the day, what these integrations solve for is the ability to have an audit trail. And that is a definitive pain point that I hear day in and day out from customers that I work with, that they don't have an audit trail of what happened, right? And in the case that something bad happens, you have very little to go off of to prove that it wasn't your support agent that caused an issue on the endpoint. So the solution to some of those pain points is being able to start a remote support session from within the ticketing system itself. Having out-of-the-box integrations helps decrease the complexity, right? Because they're out of the box, which the ones that we're going to speak to today are, they do not require much development whatsoever. They are very easy to implement, and you'll see that today. And then obviously having that audit trail from those remote sessions in the ticketing system helps solve for not having the audit trail. As far as value drivers go, right, of course, the smooth workflow, and I'll show you the entire workflow from start to finish today. What it looks like to create a remote support session, how that session information is logged, what information is logged, but all of that is done automatically. So there's no manual copying and pasting of session data or chat data back into the ticket. There's also no development. As I said, they're out of the box. So these are developed by either us or organizations that we work with. And also in the case of certain CRMs like ServiceNow, we've gone through the rigorous certification process that allows us to say we are certified by the specific ticketing system. And very importantly, there's no cost. So we're one of the few vendors today that actually has no cost integrations. They are built by us. We develop them. They are out of the box, but they are completely free. Okay? It's a piece that we simply thought it was not right to charge for. So we want to ensure that we have these available to all of our customers. Now the last thing, so you'll see the logos at the bottom. Those are all of the ticketing systems that we integrate with out of the box. Okay? ServiceNow being most common, followed by Salesforce and Zendesk. And then beyond that, we do also integrate with Autotask, Agiloft, HappyFox, Freshdesk, and Microsoft Dynamics. Now you'll see the API logo on the right. We put that there on purpose, because while these are the tools we integrate with out of the box, if you're using a different tool, whether it's Jira or another Atlassian product or other CRMs, even your own homegrown CRM, if we don't have an out-of-the-box integration, but you want to integrate Rescue into your CRM, you absolutely can. We have a full API stack for all reporting data that a lot of our customers have taken customized integrations that they've built themselves and integrated within their own ticketing system. So that is certainly a possibility. If you don't see your own CRM on the list here, you can always, if interested, leverage the API. We don't, just for what it's worth, we don't build integrations, but we absolutely support the APIs that are being used to build those. So certainly a conversation that we're more than willing to have. So I am going to use ServiceNow to illustrate this. ServiceNow is by far and away the most common CRM system that we deal with, that we encounter. Right? I feel like, honestly, about 50% of the customers that I work with are in ServiceNow already. So we wanted to be able to bring that, to bring Rescue into the ServiceNow solution. So I will walk through this. I do just quickly want to show, this is the main landing page, confirming it is free. I also want to confirm with ServiceNow we are up to date with the Utah version. And then you see the certified ServiceNow logo there saying that they have approved the Rescue integration to be used within their environment. The great thing is all you have to do is log in and click Get. It is that easy. Well, there's a couple settings you have to enable, but it's very, very streamlined and simple to initialize this integration. But I don't want to show you screenshots. We have screenshots here, but I want to show you what it looks like in real time. Okay, now, so I'm in ServiceNow right now. This is an older version. It's just a demo environment that we have. I have a ticket created, which we'll take a look at in a second. But at a high level, for those of you leveraging ServiceNow today, and to be fair, the integration is almost identical across Zendesk and Salesforce. I see someone's using Zendesk in the chat, so I wanted to make sure that Barbara, you know that is certainly possible. The integration works almost identically. So while I'm showing it in ServiceNow, what I'm going to show is relevant for all of the CRM systems that we integrate with. Now, for all of you who have been on these calls before, you'll recognize Rescue, and also a lot of you use it already. I also have a virtual machine. This will be the end user's computer for today. So let's take a look at what this looks like, all right? Back in ServiceNow, oh, and sorry, before I get into this live demo, it is important to know that specifically with ServiceNow, we work with incidents and cases and interactions. We also are compatible with the new agent workspace within ServiceNow. Okay, so you see, the data just displays differently, but the same data is available. I'm going to stick to the classic version, but we do work in Workspace. So let's take a look. Let's just assume that John Doe here has submitted a ticket. Okay, John's having an issue with his VPN. He said he's tried 100 times and still can't get the VPN to log in. He thinks it might be an issue with the MFA token. Fine. For me to initialize this integration, once it's configured in my account, all I have to do as an agent is click Generate LogMeIn PIN in the upper right-hand corner. They click that. The next screen is a PIN code and a link. Now, if you know Rescue, you know that I can also generate that PIN code and that link right from here, okay, in the Rescue Technician console. But in order to use the integration, those PIN codes, those connection methods are generated from the incident using the pre-created button. So the PIN code works very well. You can also simply click the link to copy, or click the button rather, to copy the connection link to your clipboard. That way you can send it through Teams, you can just paste it into an email. And when they click the link or use the PIN code, it's a very familiar process, right? Downloading the executable, running the executable, and then we're in a remote session. So I'll pull up the end user's machine. Now I could have this end user go to support.me and enter the PIN code manually here. I could also have them just click the link and it would start the download immediately. But let's make it a little more interesting. I'm going to use my calling card. Okay. So the calling card, as most of you know, if you've been part of these before, we did a whole session on the calling card as a system service. And that allows you to deploy the calling card. So all the end user has to do is enter a PIN code rather than sending them something to download. Calling card removes the download in the web browser from the connection process. And actually, the calling card works incredibly well in conjunction with the ticketing system integrations. Because, think about it, right? If I'm on, let's just assume I'm on the phone with John right now. Okay, John submitted the ticket. I say, John, I'm gonna generate a PIN code for you. What I want you to do is from your desktop, can you find, and in my case, my calling card is heavily customized. So I would say, can you find the flexing arm icon on your desktop? And don't worry, you don't have to use the arm emoji. They would open that up and I would simply give them the PIN code to enter on the calling card and they would click connect. The session starts, right? So remember the calling card turns into the applet that would normally be generated. And then actually, sorry, I know you can't see my system tray, but the rescue icon flashes and there's an audible notification that the session has started. So a couple things to point out, and I know it's a little small, so if you can zoom in, I recommend it, but I can explain it as well. First of all, you'll notice the caller. So that pulled in John Doe as the caller name from this ticket, helping me as an agent identify exactly which session this is. All the agent has to do is double click or hit the play button and then launch remote control. On the end user side, this should be familiar, right? They have the permissions prompt. Once they click OK on that permissions prompt, just like that, we're in a remote session. Okay, so now I'm connected in Rescue. okay, connected to John in this case, or connected to John's computer. Anything I need to do, I can do, right? I can, come in and say, hey, I need you to click down here on the system tray in order to identify what Wi-Fi network you're on. I can use a laser pointer, right? I can take screenshots, and now I can use the entire feature set of Rescue. Transferring sessions, inviting technicians to join the session with me, right? Managing files in the file manager, reviewing system info, deploying scripts. But here's the thing, with the integration, the entire session log is going to automatically go back to the ticket or incident or case for that matter. So everything I do is logged here, right? If I go into system information and pull the system dashboard here, you can see all that is available, telling me, or really having an audit trail of everything that occurred, whether I was, requesting dashboard information, requesting memory or driver information. To go even a step further, if I were to transfer a file, right, I'd be able to see the name of the file on the left-hand side, and all that's going to go back to ServiceNow. I can also, it actually provides a MD5 hash for advanced tracing if you need to. An example I like to use very often is scripting. Scripting can be used in many, many different ways, as you likely know, but I'm just going to use a simple IP config here. So I just deployed an IP config. Remember, John's having issues with the VPN here. So deploying an IP config is actually a pretty good first step. But because of the way the script is written, all that detail of the IP config is in the session log. Where is that all going to go back to? ServiceNow in this case. So it's a really easy way to get system information into a incident or case in your ticketing system. Also, if I'm chatting with the end user, right? So let's say I solved the problem and I said, John, you should be all set. John sees that chat. John says, thanks. That chat is also going to be visible in ServiceNow as well. Okay, now I'm not going to go through all the features. You all are familiar with those. Okay, so I just wanted to get some data here in the session log on the left-hand side. So let's go ahead and close the session. Let's say I'm done with John. I've fixed his issue. And let's go back to ServiceNow to take a look at what we have. So shouldn't even need to refresh. As you can see, this is the entire session log from that session that I just held in Rescue. And it's automatically back in ServiceNow for the incident with John Doe here. So I have all the detail here just to give you an example. I'll zoom in a bit. It tells you the entire connection process. It tells you when the technician connected, who the technician was, what their email address was. It tells you how it connected, right? Going through the actual gateway URLs that are being leveraged. Here's all that system information, that I pulled. And then below that, there's my IP config. So now that IP config data is here on the incident. And obviously this is a very specific example, but VPN issues are very common, as we all likely know. But this does provide an easy way to get this audit trail. And then lastly, as you can see, there's the chat text, and always we identify that the session was closed, okay, confirming that the session started at time and then it ended at a later time, showing that the user themselves, the technician, ended that session. Okay. So that's the bulk of the integration, is starting or generating a pin code or a link from here, having all of this data go back to ServiceNow automatically. And that's the same way it would work in Zendesk, in Salesforce, in Freshdesk, Freshservice, etc. So obviously you get that audit trail. What else do we get? Because you have this data in ServiceNow, you get additional reporting data that you can leverage. You can run reports on, comparing comparing handle time where a remote session occurred versus handle time where a remote session did not occur. It's a very basic example, but additional data points like that are available using these integrations, and they can be very, very, very useful. The other thing I'll point out for anybody using ServiceNow, we have a nice additional piece that's available in ServiceNow that helps on the opposite side, right? So what I've shown you is an existing incident. I can generate a pin or a link from that existing incident. The other way the integration works is if you start a session, and to be frank, everybody, this is only available in ServiceNow. We will likely widen the scope of this specific feature to other CRM systems, but today it's only ServiceNow. But if I start a session right from Rescue, whether I generate a PIN code or a link, or whether I connect to one of my unattended machines. With the ServiceNow integration, it can be configured so that simply by me starting a session here, it would automatically create a new incident for me in my incidents, cases, or interactions. So it actually will, to make it simple, what it helps with is the drive-by support requests, right? It's inevitable. People are always going to send you a message and say, hey, I need help right now. Can you help me? And most of us are going to say yes. But very often those interactions go unlogged and kind of unchecked, to be fair. So the integration can actually help with that as well, where it will create a new incident for you with all the session details simply by starting a session directly from Rescue. So it kind of works in both regards, in both directions, if you will. All right, folks, that's the ServiceNow integration. It's very, very straightforward. Again, it's out of the box, it's completely free, and there's almost no development required. Well, there isn't any development required. It's just a couple of settings that need to be enabled.